What does it take to pass Army Special Forces selection? Well, first, I can tell you that it's not just physical fitness. When I went through, there were guys who were 5'7", 130 pounds soaking wet who passed selection. And then there were guys right next to them who were 6'2", 220 pounds and 6% body fat that threw in the towel and quit halfway through selection or even in the beginning of selection. And why is that? It's because passing something that is that difficult is not all physical, okay? There are plenty of videos covering the physical aspects and what it takes to pass any selection out there in the Army or in the Navy, whatever. But the key factor and the most consistent factor of success actually exists between your ears. It's your mindset going into it. And there are a couple things that when I went through are traits that most people who passed selection possessed and shared. So I'm going to share those with you today, and you're going to get some insight into what it takes and what the mindset of an elite operator actually looks like at the very beginning of their career, before they're even a Green Beret, before they're even an elite operator. Just to get the opportunity to try out, there are certain characteristics that you must possess. One of the hardest things that you have to wrap your mind around when you're going through something that is difficult, that is just brutal and sucks every day, is pain is temporary. All right. There is an end point to the suffering. And that is a key differentiator between those who continue to put themselves through that suffering and those who quit, is the acknowledgement in the moment when everything sucks and it feels like it's not going to end, that there is an end state and that it will end and it can't go on forever and you can push through. That is one of the key characteristics to those who pass and those who fail, is knowing that pain is temporary and you can get through it as long as you don't quit. The second trait that makes people succeed or helps people succeed going through a difficult selection is knowing that the alternative of passing selection is better than the alternative of failing selection. So, quick example for me, I was an 18 X-ray, which means I joined the Army to go to Special Forces and get the chance to try out to be a Green Beret. So if I did not pass and become a Green Beret or pass selection, my fate was going to be up to the Army. So I was going to be what's called needs of the Army, meaning if the Army needed me somewhere miserable that I didn't want to be, it didn't matter. I didn't have a choice in that decision. So if I did not pass selection, I was going to needs of the Army. And what happens with a lot of people is they talk themselves into the grueling road that's ahead of them is worse than just quitting now and going to the regular Army. But in reality, once selection's over, once the Special Forces qualification course is over, those people who are still in the regular Army look at their peers that passed and graduated the Special Forces Q course and are going to an ODA, and they say, man, I wish I didn't quit, right? So in the moment, they make that decision to quit because it's the easy button and they talk themselves into it. But in reality, even in the long term, even though the road is hard, even though there's a lot of work you have to put in, they still likely regret that decision. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but most of the time that is the case. They look at their peers who have a Green Beret now and who are operating on operational detachment alphas, and they wish they were in their shoes and didn't throw in the towel in that moment of weakness in selection because they talked themselves into it. So knowing the alternative of suffering and pushing through the suffering and just not quitting is better than the alternative of where you'll end up if you quit, even though it's short-term relief. That is mindset number 2 that you need to get in your head if you're going to pass Special Forces selection, Navy SEAL training, all of the above. It's similar no matter where you are in the military and what you were trying to do. The end result, even though it's harder to get there, is a better end result if you put up and don't quit. The third mindset characteristic, and this one's crucial, is humble confidence. Before I jump into that, reminder to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, humble confidence is something that is crucial to pass any selection or any arduous training in the military. Now, the hard thing is those that go to a soft selection are typically always high performers prior to. So whether you're coming from the regular Army, you're Ranger tabbed, you've just been a physical stud your entire time in, or you're an 18 X-ray, you had a prior D1 athletic career, something like that. So you've gained a lot of confidence in yourself. But the key differentiator between those who succeed and those who fail is being humble while being confident. All right. What does that look like? That means you have a 12-mile ruck coming up. You know you're a good rucker. You have great endurance. You're always in the top 10%. So you're confident in your ability to go do a ruck march, right? But where the humility part comes in is when you're getting smoked by the cadre, or when the cadre tell you to do something that's stupid and you know it's stupid, and you give them that look like, who are you to tell me to do that? Or that's stupid. I don't want to do that. Even though you know you have to do it regardless. That is lacking humility. And that is what is going to get you on not only your peers' bad side, but the cadre's bad side, because you're going to make everybody's day hell because you're going to piss the cadre off. All right. So having the confidence to perform well in everything you do is crucial. But on the flip side, having the humility to know your place as a special forces candidate is also crucial. So it's a fine balance. It's a fine dance, but that trait is something that needs to continue throughout your entire special operations career, because everybody in special operations is confident and competent and capable of doing the job. But not everybody has the humble confidence to be a great leader, to be a great operator, and to be a great teammate. So that is a key differentiator, not only just passing selection, but continuing on throughout your career and continuing a successful special operations career. All right, the final mindset that we're going to talk about is resiliency. Now, it may seem like no shit, you need to be resilient to pass a difficult selection or a difficult course. But the key factor of resiliency that's overlooked is it's not physical resilience, right? If you're showing up to something like that, hopefully you've already done the physical work so that your body is physically resilient and you can push through pain. Now, mental resilience is where people struggle. So what happens to you when you're out all alone at night on the land navigation course and you have no idea what north is, what south is, what east is, or what west is, and you still have to go find 3 or 4 points? What are you going to do? Are you just going to continue bitching, moaning, and throw in the towel and say, I'm lost, I can't figure it out? Or are you going to spend the next 30 minutes to an hour backtracking and figuring out where the hell you are so that you can pass the course, right? That is the difference between being resilient physically and being resilient mentally, because everybody that shows up is a physical stud to some extent or another, right? Or else they wouldn't be there, or else they wouldn't make it past week 1. So if you get to the further stages in selection, your mental resilience is what's really going to be tested. And then moving on after land nav, how are you going to react when you're put in a leadership position and everything's going to hell and you're running out of time? And there's dudes yelling at you, telling you should do it this way, but you're in charge. What are you going to do? Are you going to make the right decision, or are you going to cower and let somebody else take charge? That is the difference between physical resilience and mental resilience, is how you react in those situations of adversity that you've never encountered before. What are you going to do? And that can make or break your selection. So that's it on mindset. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to accomplish. And that is what makes these selections so difficult, is not the physical aspect. The physical aspect you can prepare for, you can train for, you can know you're ready for. Yeah, it's still going to suck. It's still going to push you to your limits and beyond, but it's the mental part that gets most people, okay? Most people, that 6'2" guy, 220 pounds with 7% body fat, whatever, that's the dude that you would look, if you saw him on the street next to the 5'7" guy, you would say, that guy is a Green Beret, the 5'7" guy is not. But the difference, like I said at the beginning, is between their ears. And that 5'7" guy had all the traits that I just spoke about. On top of that, being able to push through pain and being physically fit enough to do the job. All right. That is the key difference. So once again, thanks for watching. If you got something out of this, like and subscribe. Throw some comments down below if you have questions. I'm more than happy to engage and provide more insight on my experience through all of this and through my special operations career. Thanks again for watching.